Hey everybody, let's do another campaign ad reaction. This time we're going to do the most competitive U.S. Senate race. That's going to be in Ohio. So we've got Sherrod Brown and Bernie Moreno. We're going to do 3 from each side. We're going to start here with Bernie Moreno. We're going to play him and we're going to do some quick commentary. Let's get started.
This is an unprecedented storm.
And the death toll is continuing to go up.
We lost everything.
Communities devastated, homes washed away, and American lives destroyed. While we suffer at home, career politicians Biden, Kamala, and Sherrod Brown turn a blind eye. Instead, they're spending our money overseas. Sherrod Brown voted to fund foreign wars, and Brown even voted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens. Biden, Kamala, and Sherrod Brown don't put Americans first.
All right, so Bernie Moreno is not even in this one. Doesn't even say that he approves this message. But this one seems to hit home the message that there's a lot of spending for things going on overseas. And politicians are quick to jump at those issues, but there's a lot going on back home that we need to tackle. It's interesting that most of this ad showcases the hurricane damage in North Carolina, but that kind of spending is the contrast that Moreno is going for. Overseas and non-citizens versus back at home and for citizens. I think that's a reasonable approach to take, especially considering this is Ohio. It's going to be a moderately red state at the top of the ticket. Then you've got Brown there with Biden and Harris seemingly indicating that they're not in favor of America first. All right, let's move on to Sherrod Brown's first ad. Here it is.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I have a question. Have you ever heard Bernie Moreno talk about what he's going to do for Ohio? Because that's what this job's all about. I've spent my career focused on standing up for workers, expanding health care for veterans, working with law enforcement to crack down on fentanyl, and with presidents of both parties to do what's best for our state. Ohio only gets 2 senators. You deserve someone focused on you. That's why I approve this message.
All right, so this is a low-key but direct appeal from Brown. It looks like he's in a shop. There's no music, there's no narration, there's no flashy graphics. He's trying to connect with you one-on-one. Now, I'm sure Moreno would dispute this and say there's a ton of things he said he wants to do for Ohio. Then there's a few more generic types of platitudes on some issues that Brown is hoping to tackle. But they're going to be things that everybody agrees with. So overall, I would say this is actually probably a pretty good ad here from Brown. It comes off as more sincere and there's not any extremely wild claims. So this is going to be the approach I think Brown should be taking more often. Now let's move on to the second ad from Moreno. Here it is.
It's a crisis. Crime and drugs are flowing into American neighborhoods and towns. Kamala Harris opened our border, and Sherrod Brown stood with her.
Sherrod Brown is a radical left politician. He's for broken borders.
Nearly 500,000 criminal illegal immigrants have been released into America and our neighborhoods.
Bernie Moreno will stop it. He's going to secure our border, and you got to go out and back Bernie Moreno.
I'm Bernie Moreno, and I approve this message.
All right, the issue of immigration, that's a big one for the Republicans. This ad has all the shots of what's going on at the borders with migrants and how Harris has failed on this issue and how Brown is tied into it. Then he's got Trump in here, who is going to be popular enough in this state. He's asking you to vote for Moreno so we can solve this border crisis. I don't know how many people are going to agree that Sherrod Brown is a radical left liberal, but there's usually going to be some hyperbole in these ads. Overall, for the intent of this ad, I think it's also going to work. Let's do ad number 2 from Sherrod Brown.
Bernie Moreno thinks I'm a little crazy.
Because Bernie Moreno thinks it's crazy that women care about abortion rights.
He says that for older women like me, it's not really an issue.
And I'm thinking, Bernie, how is this an issue for you?
But Bernie Moreno's against abortion even in cases of rape or incest.
And he's for a national abortion ban to overturn how we voted in Ohio.
Bernie Moreno, I am 100 years old, and I'm definitely not crazy.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
Right, so this is the abortion ad from Brown. He's definitely got to put one of these out. And we know the state does not want extreme restrictions. So they got a bunch of women sitting on the couch, and they're seizing on the comments that Moreno made. My understanding is he was saying that about women that make that the sole issue and not just one of several issues. But I still think it's going to be a weak comment from Moreno. Now, the one woman says she doesn't know why this would be an issue for Moreno. That part I disagree with. I think that everybody's going to have an opinion on this topic. But we've seen this type of ad from many different campaigns. You get a lot of different women in there talking about how Moreno is wrong on this topic. They even have a 100-year-old woman in there. And this is likely to be the weakest topic for Moreno. So Brown is doing what he needs to do, and considering the circumstances, I think this is an acceptable type of ad. Now let's do the final ad from Bernie Moreno.
Inflation is killing Ohio's working class. It costs $500 to fill my truck. And it's Democrats like Sherrod Brown's fault. Brown backed Kamala, voting for her Inflation Act. causing the highest inflation in 40 years. We can't afford any more Sherrod Brown. I back outsider businessman Bernie Moreno. He'll end inflation, and with Trump, Bernie Moreno will put the working class first.
I'm Bernie Moreno, and I approve this message.
Alright, so this one is centered around inflation. They got your regular blue-collar working-class truck driver, and he's talking about how everything is unaffordable. That's a common concern pretty much across the board. Even if inflation has been worldwide, it's still usually the #1 biggest concern. So this guy's just trying to live his life. Then he brings in Moreno and says he's Trump-endorsed, and he's an outsider and a businessman. That might have a decent amount of appeal as well. Then at the end here, when in doubt, just show yourself at another shop walking and talking to another worker. So this ad indicates Moreno is for the working class. That is a key segment of the electorate, and it's hard to say this ad is not going to at least be somewhat effective. Now let's finish it up here for the last ad on Sherrod Brown.
Sherrod Brown understands that there's struggles for us, and he fights for that.
You keep fighting for Social Security.
This guy is honest as hell.
If you love this country and fight for the people who make it work.
There's nothing phony about Sherrod Brown, nothing.
I just want to thank you for your work.
Sherrod has come and really served our area, unlike a lot of politicians.
Thank you for saving our pension.
He fights for us. We do not want to lose out.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
Alright, so that's kind of a lighter ad from Brown. He's traveling the state, that's fine. He's got his bus out there. He's talking to just average voters. They think he's honest. They think he's a fighter. They give him credit on protecting Social Security and their pensions. There's no mention of Moreno. This is definitely not an attack ad. And of course, Brown is not going to tie himself to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Brown does need to get some crossover appeal, so he does not want to go too negative towards Trump. And it was also in that first ad, I believe, where he did mention that he works with both parties. So this ad is fine. It's nothing too special. It's not horrible, but I still think his best ad is going to be the first one where he's talking directly to the camera. But that's it. Those are 3 ads from each side in this U.S. Senate race in Ohio. So let me know in the comments, who do you think had the better ads? Which one did you like? Which one did you not like? Is there a different ad that I didn't cover on here? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.